All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to Not All the Things. This is a space for success driven, mature women of color where we share tips and strategies for balancing work life commitments, wellness, and wine. Starting this channel, why? Because I recognize that this is the work that I have to do for myself. And I am surrounded by sister friends who are boss. And I do mean boss at their jobs. They're in the C suite, they're running schools, they're running districts, they're powerful lawyers, doctors, and creators. And yet, they cannot find any time for themselves. They are not prioritizing themselves. They are not making the space that they need to be for themselves and for others. So if this resonates with you in any way, join me on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and invite a sister friend to the conversation. And don't forget to bring a glass, white, red, bubbles, or water. That's all accepted. So let's get started. Today's topic, real simple. Is work life balance a lie for women of color 50 plus? So I've been thinking about this and I've been mulling it over. And I honestly believe that no, it is not a lie. There is an opportunity to make time for yourself and to prioritize yourself. And so for me, the short answer is no. But I'm really interested in what my special guest, Dr. Dacella Sessoms, has to say about this. And so we will be in conversation and we would love to hear from you also. So you can drop your responses in the chat or in that comment box. You know, I'm used to Zoom, so it's always a chat. But please feel free to drop it in the comment box and be a part of the conversation. So I want to welcome my friend, my sister, and my soror, Dr. Darcella Sessoms. Come on in, sis. Glad to have you.
Oh, so glad to be here, Dr. Davia Franklin. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be on your inaugural show. And you chose me. I'm so honored, sis. Thank you so much.
We have to do, right? We have to cheers on that.
Yeah.
We have to cheers. Oh, yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for that.
Yes, and before you get into your format, I just want to say again, I'm honored that on your inaugural show that you chose me to be your guest. But I also just want to send congratulations to you on behalf of all of our mutual sisters that we share. The fold that you've allowed me to become a part of, the New York City crowd, the Jersey crowd, the Virginias, all of them who are probably listening. Everybody wants to extend congratulations and let you know just how much you are loved and how proud they are of you. So, from me, on behalf of all of them, mwah, mwah, mwah.
Oh, thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. I really appreciate it and feel the prayers and the love. Yes. So I have to ask you right off the top, do you think work life balance is a lie for women of color over 50 or for women in general over 50?
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm going to keep my lens women of color, right?
Of
It's,
course.
it's the space where I live. So it's real easy for me to come from that perspective. I don't think it's a lie, but I do think there is a misunderstanding of what that term means.
Mm,
And often it becomes misconstrued. And that's what causes, I would say, the conflict in either accepting that term and believing that it's true or coming from the perspective that it's a lie.
I think that's true. Uh, One of the things that I'm realizing in this 50 plus moment of life, in this new season of 55, I'll claim that, I'm good with it,
Yeah.
is that many of us, if we have our parents, if they are alive, we are really in the mix of trying to be present for them and take care of them and
Mhm.
and give them their space and their independence, yet be supportive. So we have a number of folks who fit that category, and then we have folks who have these young adults trying to become true adults on their own. And then we have folks who are like renewing their life. They've had a whole full career and they're starting a whole new career. And so the identity of daughter, wife, mother, and
See,
exec, you know,
boss.
boss, right? That's what
soror.
leads to, what leads the work. And so I feel like that's where the conflict lies, is trying to find who you are and which identity is going to lead you, and balancing that at times. And so I'm just wondering if you even think about where we sit right now in this new stage, because I don't even know if I could have had this conversation 10 years ago, right?
Right. Right. No, I think, in our 20s and 30s, we were still in an ing world, ing being establishing, establishing, who we are, discovering who we are, setting that path forward in order to get to a place right now where we see the light. We are at the tail end of these long careers where we've given a good portion of our life to. Uh, Children are graduating high school and moving on to college prayerfully, and
Yeah.
establishing their own life out
Hmm.
there. And so now there's an opportunity for rediscovering who we are and what we are meant to be. And it's a good space. It's a good space to be in. And I think more and more women are embracing it. And for those who aren't, I would really encourage that they do. But Dr. David, one of the issues that I have with this whole concept of work life balance is because sometimes I think it's an underpinning for people falling into this perfection trap.
Mm.
And that perfection trap is very, very dangerous on many, many levels. Um, I needing to be here, available, present for this and for
Right,
this and for this and
right.
for that. That's a perfection trap,
Mm.
which I encourage folks not to go down that pathway. And we can talk about that more.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important piece. While I was doing a little bit of research, I came across something called the Superwoman syndrome. And
Mm,
upon my first time reading it, I was like, what are they talking about? But it truly is what it sounds like, that there are folks, mostly women of color, who suffer from this. And psychologists have really been starting to write about this idea of trying to be everything and everywhere for everyone. One, because it's self-imposed, but there's an expectation that you have to be better than. And I think that aligns to what you're talking about, this idea that you have to be perfection. But not only that, there's an expectation that you have to do it all and do it all well. So I
mhm,
encourage folks to really look into some of that research around Superwoman syndrome, because it sounds crazy, but that's who I know. I mean, the folks that I know tend to be those superwomen and tend to take that challenge on as if they have to hold it down in that way, and that you're going to be less of a woman, less of a wife, less of a partner, or less of a boss. And so
mhm,
being able to give ourselves that freedom to say, no, not all the things,
mhm.
not it's hard for folks, for sure.
Yeah. And that superwoman syndrome is dangerous. When I do counsel, I'm right now I am not seeing any clients because I have about 10 other jobs, so I'm taking a break from
Speak on
practice.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Cheers on that one. You know about
Mhm.
that. But when I do counsel and do individual counseling, one of the biggest things that I'm dealing with women, and again, my caseload, my client load typically is women of color,
Mhm.
is them dealing with the superwoman syndrome and addressing the racialized trauma in the
Mhm.
workplace,
Mhm.
as well as any other traumas from their childhood. So that superwoman syndrome is very, very dangerous. And you mentioned self-imposed. Yes, as a woman of color, I will say I need to be, I need to be, I need to be,
Mhm.
because society has said you need to operate at this level. Otherwise, we will see you as less than.
Mhm.
And so, unfortunately, women of color aren't given the privilege or the luxury of
Right.
being able to state, I'm overwhelmed,
Right. Right. Right.
I'm stressed,
Right.
I need help in the workplace, because
Right.
I don't want anybody to see me as a failure and then attribute it to my race and my gender.
Ooh, that's a heavy load. And sometimes that's happening, we're not even aware that that's happening for us. So one of the ways in which I've thought about improving that work life balance is really about setting boundaries and setting those work boundaries. And I say that, and I literally just checked Slack before we started talking, right? And so knowing that when 7 o'clock comes, if that's your time to say I'm done with this work, that we need to do that and allow ourselves to do that. And yet it's so, again, all of these little tips are so deceivingly easy, and yet they are hard as hell to do. And I
Yeah.
don't really understand the why behind that. I'm still processing, which is why we're having these conversations. But
Because you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to disappoint. So when we set boundaries with folks, we are letting them know this is my limit. This is my space. This is
mm,
my space of respect.
mm,
If you want to know who can handle that, set boundaries with folks and watch their reaction.
mm,
Their reaction will either feel they'll feel rejected. Some folks will feel rejected because perhaps you've always been available for them, and now you're saying, I'm still there for you, I still love you, I still got you, you're still my friend, my girl, whatever, but I need this space. And those who truly love, understand, and support you, they'll adjust. I've done that with folks. I've
right,
called my entire leadership team in about 3 months ago, and I said, listen, these are the boundaries that I need to set up with you
right,
all because you're crossing them. Barging in my office when I'm trying to have my salad and you're saying, got a sec? You see that I'm trying to eat, but I don't barge in your office.
right, right, right.
Walking in the door, briefcase, coat, bags. Did you get my email? You're
Just 1 minute.
violating a boundary.
Right, 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 right,
You set those boundaries with them. You have to be able to be okay with, well, I don't want them upset.
right. Right,
What do
right.
you
And you
want?
know what? I think that's really important that you called the team in and shared how you're feeling, because sometimes they say they see a shift. Oh, well, now you acting all this kind of way and you don't got no time. But let's have this conversation together, and
Mm-hmm.
let's be clear about, for me to be my best self for this team, I need y'all to give me, I need to walk in here, be able to take off my coat, my scarf, have my tea before we have to hit it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I find that, I try to get my team to understand, but the more that I am available, the more people take advantage. They
Yeah,
slack
they
you on a
will.
Saturday, and then I respond. And so now I'm like, no responding on the weekend. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll read things on the weekend
Mhm.
and I'll make notes, but I will, like, I'm not sending an email. I'm not going to follow up because they could wait. Whatever happened on Friday at 5, unless it was a real emergency, you could pick up the phone and call me at that point. But what are
Right,
we like? What are we going to do, right? And so
right.
that idea of setting boundaries as that first way to improve work life balance is something that I think we should all strive for, even though it's difficult for us to do.
But I think you also even have to add that to making sure that you set them outside of the workplace,
Ooh,
like
say it.
friends. Friends may want,
Yeah.
to go here and do this and do that, and you may just not be up to it. See, we're at an age now where we can say, girl, I'm not going, I'm about to put my pajamas on. But there was a time where we felt obligated, we felt we
Absolutely.
needed to be there. But in order to maintain your peace, you have to be able to say, no, I'm gonna pass on this third retirement party for
Ooh,
tonight.
for
I'll
tonight.
some card, and be okay. But you got to have the type of friends that understand that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? We have to be able to be real straight. And I appreciate you saying, don't
Mm.
just make it about work, make it about personal too. That the balance is on both sides, right? It's the
Right,
professional and the
right,
personal, right? It's the
right.
both ways, it's the both and. So keeping that in mind, that is what we're looking to do, is put those parameters not only on work, which a lot of my tips are around holding on to work, balancing,
Mhm.
but thinking about what can help in that personal relationships also, and knowing that your friends, if they're truly your friends at this point, they know you, they respect you, and they'll be like, "Girl, I'll catch you the next time."
Hmm.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate
again,
that.
before you move off for boundaries, I also just want to say it's important because what happens is you'll move to resentment.
Ooh,
You'll
yes.
move to resentment. You'll move to possibly a disposition and a tone that might be a little bit snippy and not as professional as you have been because you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired of people taking all of your time and not respecting it. And so you don't want to turn into that person. And
Right.
so that's why it's important to address it up front when you see it going a little haywire and
Right.
you're getting a little anxious and feeling a little snippy. Oh,
Right.
wait a minute, let's pull it back.
Yeah, that's really important because there are times when we don't understand why we are like not willing to take that person's call, not willing to, be in communication, and underneath it, we are getting to that resentment, but we're not able to name that feeling, that name that emotion of, oh,
Resentment.
that's what it is right there. Okay,
Mhm.
that's important, real important. One of the other uh, tips that I've been thinking about, and this one is a little may seem strange to people, but I call it using your fake commuting time for yourself, right? And so, what I mean by that is many of us are still working hybrid, still working 2 and 3 days at home. You used to have to commute 30 minutes, 45, some of us an hour and 15. So, why are we not taking that time and using it for ourselves? If I'm not going anywhere, then I actually have an additional hour, 2 hours in my day that I can be using for me, which means I can get up, I can get on this Peloton, or I can get up, I can go outside, I can walk, I can get the groceries in, I can do whatever I need to do, but I am going to take back. So I call it fake commuting, right?
Mhm.
Utilizing that time for yourself in a way that makes sense for you, and holding on to that, because we're not willing to, oh, I'm busy, I can't do it, I gotta get the kids, I gotta drop this person, I gotta go. Well, you have an extra 30 minutes because you ain't going nowhere, but from the bedroom to the office. But use that time for yourself, and like really use it for you.
But we're not. And what's happening is, so when folks had the privilege of doing a work from home, and I'm an essential government worker working in a huge law enforcement agency,
Right.
so I'm always on,
Right.
so to speak. I'm always on. There's a possibility that I will have to look at the phone and
Right.
answer those calls. But the problem is when we went to this no commuting work from home, people then misappropriated folks' travel time. So
Yes.
your work day would have ended at 5 o'clock. Your last meeting probably would have stopped around 4. You
Right.
probably kind of go into shutdown mode in your office. You want to kind of
Mhm.
tidy up things, take some notes from what happened early.
Right.
When we went to work from home, folks took the liberty of starting to schedule things all the way up to 5 o'clock. And then some crossed the boundary and
Right.
said,
Right.
well, you're not commuting. So we can go all the way till 5:30 because you would have been driving. The
Right.
difference is I would have been driving in silence and not listening to you all.
That's the truth. And
That
what
part.
I'm saying is, you need to take back that time and be like, no,
Claim your time.
reclaim your time.
Order.
No, I am not going to take the 5 o'clock meeting because, well, okay, I'll take the 5 o'clock, but I ain't taking the 5:30. I ain't taking the 6 o'clock. Some people actually put time on their slot that's way after their commute time. Like,
Yeah.
way. No,
Mm.
6 o'clock, I can't talk to you because technically I'm driving.
Right.
Technically I'm commuting. And so all I'm saying is figure out a way to, again, claim the time that you have and use it for you. Use it
Right.
for you in the best way that you can. Uh, One of
And
the
let's distinguish between what's urgent
mm,
and what's important.
you can
Okay.
speak on that.
Everything that's important isn't urgent. Okay. It's important. Yes, we can possibly address it tomorrow.
Right,
Urgent means that life, limb, or liberty is at jeopardy right now. And so I need to make a decision. I need to have a conversation.
right.
Know the difference between the two and be able to turn to somebody and say, that's not urgent.
That's important. But that's
It's
not
important, but it's not urgent.
okay. I'm gonna write that one down because everything is on fire with the
It
people.
can't be. Your body cannot operate from that perspective 24/7 where you're always on go. You are going to, in layman's terms, burn and crash. Your
Right,
allostatic load can't take it
right,
anymore. And
right,
you are going to start doing more damage to your physical body along with your mental and emotional body. That's going to be you're not going to be able to repair that.
right. Wow, wow. That's important to hear, especially for people who are naturally anxious. Naturally, they come in like they come in with the wind. They come in spinning, and it's like we cannot manage. And it's interesting because in education we always say kids have to feel safe, they have to feel loved, they have to be comforted, and they have to feel connected. And so adults need that too, just big kids, but the
Right.
same goes for the adults as it does the kids. And so when they are on and spinning and anxious, oh, can we talk about this and this issue? Everything can't be an issue.
Right.
Everything can be an issue. It's
To your
really,
point, as an educator,
yeah,
what you're saying is for those who are in corporate and other spaces
right.
that's not education, that employee doesn't feel safe. And that's why they
Mm,
need their now answered. They need that reassurance now. So we need to figure out how can we make them feel safe in order for them to learn the difference between urgent and important so that they're comfortable and we can reduce their level of anxiety because as their anxiety goes up, I'm going to tell you my anxiety is going to start to go up and it's going to manifest itself in not such a pretty way and I don't want to be that boss.
right. You don't want to show up like that?
And I tell folks all the time, my outside business is being a clinician.
Right.
uh, at work I'm not your clinician.
Right, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Oh no, that's powerful. That's powerful to hear. So that first thing is setting boundaries. That first tip is setting boundaries at work and also personal. That second one is reclaim your time. I call it that fake commuting. Reclaim your time, as you so put it. And the third thing, which is somewhat simple, but let's work smarter and not harder. Right? Let's do things like, and here's a radical idea: take your work email off your phone. How about that thought? Is that even possible, you think? To take the work email off your phone and just deal with the work email on your laptop or on your desktop to bring down some of that.
That would be amazing for many women. I think unfortunately we have this culture of competition and
Mm,
needing to know first because again we created a workspace where we reward that type of behavior and response. Oh, look at Nancy, she's on it. Nancy read her email at 11 o'clock, then good for Nancy. I'm about to go to sleep. Right. But we've created that, and then we get in boardrooms and we talk about how Nancy is so
right,
committed. So then Jane feels like, well, I can't take it off my phone because I'm gonna miss something because
right,
Nancy seems to be
right,
on. We have to fix that culture.
right,
We have
right,
to create that culture that says, listen, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable for us to have those level of expectations for
right,
you outside of your work hours.
right,
Going back to your own words, how to create a sense of safety where they don't feel like they have to be in competition, where they're constantly looking over their shoulder because
right.
if they don't answer this, the ball is going to drop.
Mm,
Um, but I encourage for those who can remove it from your personal phone if you have that opportunity.
right.
It'll do your health tons of good.
Yeah, it's something that I'm actually playing with. I'm trying not to. Every time I see at the end of the week where it gives you, at least on the Apple phone, it tells you your screen hours and how long you've been on that phone, and it goes from 5 to 6 to 7. I'm like, 7 hours? How I pick up the phone 7 hours? I was awake 7 hours. Does that mean I have the phone in my hand every hour? I'm not feeling that. So I'm not there yet, but it is a radical idea. And I actually had a coworker say to me, and she's on my team. She was like, Oh no, I didn't see that because I don't have the work email on my phone. And I said, what? I'm writing that one down because that is about putting the boundaries together, and that is around really being smarter with your time for sure.
And
Um,
that works if they are in the type of career where
right,
they're not
right,
issued,
right,
a company phone.
right,
And so
right.
there are some cases where they are issued a company phone. And again, there's this expectation like I have access to you 24/7. I say negotiate that up front
Yeah,
when you're sitting down and accepting employment, or as things change in your current career and
yeah,
they move to that. What is your expectation in
right,
terms of looking at emails and returning calls after hours? Have those conversations up front with your supervisors or whomever you report to establish that and know up front what are the expectations, and then you'll have to make a decision. Does that fit the lifestyle that you're trying to have?
right. I love that. I love that. And it's all around communication. All of this really stems with some really healthy communication that you're willing to have, and also willing to have with your team and also your supervisor if that's it.
Unfortunately, this, Dr. Davia, did not improve communication.
No, it did not.
It
It did
made it
not.
worse.
It did
It
not. It
worse.
did not. I know that some people would argue, but from where I'm sitting, no, not so much. There's a lot of miscommunication. We could absolutely go left on that conversation. Um, I would say one other tip, and this is one that I know will resonate for you: prioritize your health, people. Go to your yearly checkups. Do not wait. Again, I'm talking to myself until you are sick and down. And then you're like, oh, I can't. Now I got to miss work for more than a week because I didn't take the time to do the checkups that I need. And I mean all the checkups, all of them, the mammogram, all of it, the pap smear, all the stuff that we don't want to do, but we need to do. The dentist, the eye doctor, thank you for the new glasses, but do it up front so that you can be in better shape for everyone, especially for yourself.
Yeah, because the question is, how many board meetings are you going to make when you 6 feet
Oh,
underground?
wow. Okay.
Will you be on time for those board meetings when you're 6 feet underground?
No, you will not.
No. So the fact of the matter is your health is a precious gem. And if you're not prioritizing that, you're not good for yourself. And please don't give your health to your employer. Or even if you're self-employed or an
Right.
entrepreneur, don't give it away to your business.
Right.
Without your health, I know it's cliche, you have nothing. And like you said, you talking to yourself, I'm talking to myself as well. It took for me a health scare,
Right.
for me to say, okay, I'm gonna prioritize that mammogram, because that little scare that I had
Okay.
was enough. So now it's like, ooh, because I'm on an every 6 month regimen, I'm like, ooh, gotta go.
Yep.
you know
It's an every 6 month moment at this point, and it has
right.
to be, and it's got to be okay. We make. Here's the thing that drives me bonkers. We make room for everybody else's stuff. I gotta take my mother. I gotta take auntie. I gotta go here. Well,
Kid.
I gotta take the kids. But have I had my yearly? No, I have not. No, I
No.
have not. And it's not until I am like, oh, I really don't feel good now. Like I'm really, it's 2 weeks in and I can't lose this cough. Okay, now I'm gonna call. Right now I'm gonna go.
Well, we need to make it take your sister to the doctor day, and where we
Ooh,
are really encouraging each other. Sis, everybody's going to take off from work today, and this is going to be our day of health care. And then when we finish with our doctor's appointments, then if we have a little time, maybe we can go do a spa day. But take your sister, encourage your sister to go to the doctor day. I think is something that we all need to do, and we need to get on board with promoting that. I know Columbus Day is coming up, and so what I did was, because I'm off that day from my
right,
government job,
right,
I
right.
did make two healthcare appointments on that day.
Did you?
So I'm trying to maximize, my time off with getting it in, but that's me. I was able to do that this year,
Right,
but I'm
right.
consistent with that. So let's encourage our sisters to,
Let's do
go to the doctor day.
let's do that. Let's figure out. Let's pick a day. Let's make that happen. Let's publicize that. We're gonna take our sisters to Doctor Day. I love that, and I think if we can encourage each other and be accountable to each other, then it'll get done. So I appreciate you for saying that. And then I would say this final tip, which is one that you have been preaching for a while. Don't be afraid to say no. I'm not doing it. I
It's
am
a whole
unable. It's a whole, listen, no is a what?
sentence.
It's a whole sentence.
You choose what punctuation goes after that word. I'm
Absolutely.
real good with a period and an exclamation point. Some folks do commas.
Right,
When you do
right,
that,
right.
you're allowing for other things to be added to your day.
Come on, come on.
No is fine.
No is fine.
It's healthy. It's truthful. And we struggle with that. We struggle with saying, I'm sorry, I just can't. And guess what? You can end it there. You don't have to add explanation to it. We've gotten to this point where we feel we're entitled to an explanation,
Right,
but not when it comes to my life.
right, right. No,
No,
I
thank
can't
you.
do it. No, thank you.
I'm not able to do that. I'm sorry. And keep it
Listen,
moving.
and keep it moving.
Build up that muscle to be able to say that.
Listen, say no with me, say no with us. Say it. And that really is why when I was thinking about what I wanted to name this channel, it was no, not all the things. Because I'm in a room and I'm in spaces and I know you are too. Oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Oh, we can do all the things. And that just was the monicum. We can do all the things. And I was like, you know what? Not all the things. We cannot keep trying to do all the things. It's really unhealthy for us and it's really not good for our mind, our well being, for any of it. It really is not. So
Yeah,
I encourage everyone, take one item this week and just say no to it. Just for the hell of it.
absolutely.
Because you can.
Absolutely. Check it off your schedule that no, this is what I can't do this.
No, I'm not
And
gonna do it.
and of course I gotta go to the word, Davia. So the
Please
only
do.
thing the all things I can do are the all things that's through Christ, not through the state of New Jersey,
Mm,
through me being a clinician.
I love
That's the
it.
only all
That's
things
the only
that
all
I can
things.
do. And that's the only space where I want to give all things.
Right, right, right.
My,
I so
through my
appreciate that.
faith, not through people. And
Right,
so, I don't want to come off like I got this thing down pat because I
right,
don't. I'm a
right,
work in progress, and who knows, tomorrow, I may have to work 12-hour day tomorrow, depending on what happens in the state of New Jersey.
right.
But for the most part, I am not where I used to be in terms of giving all of my love, peace, and
And
happiness
happiness.
to things that don't matter.
I know that's right. I know that's right. And so I think we can really leave it at those five.
All
I
right.
really think we can leave it at those five, setting those boundaries, home, work, reclaiming our time, working smarter by doing something radical, take that work email off our phone, prioritizing our health, and that final one and the big one is no. Say no. Don't be afraid to say no.
Just say no.
Just say no. We know that one.
Yes.
We
Yes,
do.
because we're boomers. No, we're not boomers. Where are we? We're Xers?
Are we Xers?
Yeah, we Gen Xers. We
I
not
don't
boomers.
know.
That's mama and them.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Right.
Thank you so much, my sis, for being with me today. I so appreciate you. I so appreciate you. And I do hope if any of our conversation resonates, that you all will subscribe to the channel. Not all the things. We will be back next Wednesday. New topic, new conversation. And cheers to next week. Cheers. Don't forget, invite a sister friend to next week's conversation and would love to have you all just be thinking about not doing all the things.